The Steve Dangle Podcast with your hosts, Steve Dangle, Adam Wilde, and Jesse Blake.
Sorry, Steve, no green pen for you.
I wanted it.
I threw Steve's pen away because there's nothing he can do. If you're listening to this, he's between Jesse and I.
You son of a gun.
Yeah, and this desk does not have a lot of room between the wall and the desk, so it'd be very difficult. You'd have to really squish by like you're at a stadium.
I'd have to hop over this desk like I was getting ready for my shift.
Yeah,
over the boards, kid.
that's right.
Did you know that Steve had his his big game scrimmage this for the end of his summer hockey? You talking about hopping over the boards reminded me of you playing hockey.
No.
The boards. And Steve had his big end of summer championship game.
Oh yeah,
and Steve's team got absolutely rocked.
Got fucking killed.
Did you jump the bench though?
No.
Onto the ice? No?
No, because it's dangerous. It's scary.
What was the final score?
It was like 8-2.
And what the spring session that I was in, what was the final score in the championship game that time?
Your team had more than mine. I don't remember the
So
exact
is
score.
the rule just don't pick Steve for your
And you
end
had
of
2
season?
goals too.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
pretty sure.
I went off. It was great.
You couldn't complete the hat trick though?
No. I eased up.
Bum!
As a good Canadian who grew up on Hockey Night in Canada, John Cherry taught me to ease up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
Because you don't want to show up the other countries.
What
Or
else
a
did
tie.
he teach you?
That's it.
I don't know.
That's it.
Anyway,
You know what? You people are having a bad day.
Yeah,
Adam.
exactly.
And by you
Oh,
people, I
gosh.
mean Pittsburgh Steelers
That's
fans.
right, man. I went all the way to Pittsburgh and just watched them get domed. It was like,
Damn.
man, they. So it was Natalie's first football game, and I'm like, we're super excited, and Yinzers are the best. Like they get so excited before the game, and the fans. Like my mom's husband Jim did not have any Steelers gear on because he's a Seahawks fan, so he just went as neutral colors. And the guy beside him was like, "You're a hater, aren't you?" And he's like, I came all the way up from the South. I'm a Steelers fan too. And I was sitting next to people who were from San Francisco and they were Steeler fans. Steeler fans are everywhere.
A Seahawks fan would probably hate San Francisco more.
I would think so.
Right?
I would think so.
Listen to me with my football banner.
But
It's just banner.
it
Play in the
took
same division. Well done.
it
Yeah.
took until the last few minutes of the second quarter for us to hear, and that's a Pittsburgh Steeler. First down. Not first down.
down.
It's a first down. So, man, it was bad. But listen, I wanted to ask you guys about something because I walked into a few restaurants in the United States, and I saw this one type of, I guess, fizzy drink, cola. And I wanted to know if you guys have ever had it because I don't believe we have it up here.
Okay.
Have you guys ever taste tested High C?
High C. Yeah,
I've heard of it.
You've
High
heard of it.
C was big in Canada
It was?
when we were like really little. Like I'm talking like before 10.
Is High C any good? Because I keep seeing it come up.
High C. It's like
It's at
like
all
an
the
orange
fountains.
juice, right,
Yeah,
or
it's
something?
like
Yeah, I've had High C.
have you had High C?
Yeah,
it
Is
was
it good?
big when we were kids, and then
the
it
little
kind
juice
of went
box
away.
things?
Yeah.
And you could get the friggin' laundry detergent size
this
one.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at that. Look at that.
It's like
128
it's like the
ounces of
similar
High
things.
C.
You remember the McDonald's orange drink?
yeah.
Yeah, it's similar.
Is that what it is? I thought it was just Orange Crush.
Kinda. Yeah.
So is it?
I don't remember.
Is it just like? Is it flat or does it have like a bubble to
I
it?
think it's flat.
Okay, because
I
I
don't
was.
remember.
You had
was-
fizzy High C?
No, I didn't touch it.
I don't
Oh,
know.
you
I
didn't
was just
try
like,
it.
I was like, do I need to try High C the next
So this
time I'm in the
story
States?
is about a drink you saw and
Well, I was wondering if you guys had had it. I was
saw
not
High C and
I was
we're
not
like, you know
ballsy
what?
enough.
I need to talk about that drink I saw.
Damn,
I went
what
with
else
a-
did you see?
Tell us, Adam.
Well, first, I do want to say that I've never seen more cheese on a pizza than the Steelers piece of pizza that you get. First, it's about the size of probably almost of like the size of like a notebook that you would bring to school. Like it's like your 5-star binder.
Yes.
It's like that big.
A duotang?
Yes, and it's just the cheese is just falling off the side of it.
Wow.
And I'm like, do I want that with a nice crispy High C?
Do you want to shit yourself
Right.
at a sporting event? It's up to you.
Well, we got into that, last episode.
Do you want Natalie to be like, what's that smell? And you got to just be like, it's a big steel town. See how long you can convince her it's not your ass.
That's right. Yeah, I can.
How's
do that.
everyone doing? Today to start
I do want to
the
say
week?
though, it was nice to be back. I haven't seen the Steelers in person in like 5 years, so it was really nice to be there until the game started. I did root for the one touchdown. It was very exciting. That was great. And my fantasy team just got killed yesterday. Tim is gonna destroy me. Tim Haraney is who I'm up against this week, and I'm just getting destroyed, raked over the coals.
So this is where I get to see if my plan will work or backfire.
Okay.
Because Producer Drew is playing me in fantasy football. Producer Drew is a football fan and a seasoned fantasy football guy.
Yeah.
I'm getting killed. And my only hope is Josh Allen
Tonight.
to go off. Yes.
Against the Jets.
Against the Jets. So Drew, who is this Bills fan, will have to cheer for and against his own happiness.
Oh. That's tough.
That was my plan all along, and it's probably not going to work, and he's going to get to have his cake and eat it too and fuck my life.
I have a question. Jesse, I sent you a text.
Yep.
I want to bring this up. I want to ask you, as funny as this picture is, do we believe it happened? Do we believe this happened? Okay?
Yeah.
No, don't look at his computer. It's going up on the screen. Do we believe
What?
that a Pittsburgh Steeler fan pooped his pants and then tried to clean it in the sink at Acrisure
First
Stadium?
half?
Yeah. First half, too.
No,
No.
that's an old picture.
Is that an old pic?
This isn't like recent.
Well, I know that there's still a ton of Jerome Bettis. I've never seen that picture before. Am I
No,
wrong?
I've seen the picture before.
Have you? Okay.
Yeah. So the part in my take account just tweeted out and we're like Steelers in the first half.
just-
and
okay,
they
I'm like-
used that image.
Now, do we still think?
but
now,
I don't
do
know
you
if
think,
it actually happened.
Do we think
my-
that actually happened, or is that just somebody just messing around?
I mean, okay. We don't know if this is like Adam, you were there. Is that what the washrooms look like? Bathrooms? Washrooms?
Yeah,
Washrooms.
That floor is the same.
I don't know. I mean,
Bathrooms are
okay.
nice.
And how many people does the stadium hold?
60. Well, it was 68,000 there yesterday.
And how many home games do they have a year?
8, if they don't make the playoffs.
I don't know. I'd say the odds of someone not shitting their pants
Are pretty slim.
pretty slim.
Yeah.
I mean, someone
I
shit
wonder-
their pants.
Wait, I wonder if remember we had Richard Petty on, and he was famous for founding the Sky Dome and building the Air Canada Centre. Now Scotiabank Arena is one of those people that was behind both of them. Do you have like a plan for somebody who you must?
What do you do if someone?
Like it must happen, right?
We didn't.
You have to have a
plan
contingency for that.
Back-to-back episodes about shitting your pants.
But you have to have a contingency for that, right?
I guess.
You have to.
Well,
It's not a medical emergency, but I think it's still like it's a social emergency.
okay, you didn't go to the game alone.
No.
Someone's got to come with you. It's got to be the person you trust most. You send them to the team shop immediately, and you say, "Buy a pair of pants."
Yeah. And I'm throwing these out.
And I'm going to the washroom. Oh, and the problem this guy made was you know what? I had a full thing I was going to go through there, like a step by step,
Yeah?
and I've decided to bail
Why?
because I don't want to.
Okay.
I've decided to bail. You ever like that's? I think that's a sign of like adulthood.
No, I want to know how you would get through it.
No.
You won't game plan this? Jesse, do you think
So
that-
I would stay in the stall until my friend came with the new pants.
Sure.
Yeah, that's probably the best.
Would you go back to your seat though, if that's where it happened?
Depends on the game.
No, I'd walk around for the rest of
That's a
it.
good answer, Jesse.
Yeah, no, if it's a good game, I'm staying. So yeah, like if it's a playoff
Or you
game.
could just go home.
No, if it's a playoff game, I'll stay because you're gonna miss most of the game if the part from like traveling home and then getting there and turning on the TV.
Yeah, but,
But if it's a playoff game, I'll stick around.
Your pants.
So this
also,
happened.
way to hate the radio, Jesse.
This was tweeted out because you're in an Uber. We're gonna tell the Uber driver to put on the game. This was tweeted out in September of 2021 is when the poop incident happened. The Pittsburgh Steelers were playing the Raiders and they were losing at the time.
Fair.
It was second week of the season, I think it was, and yeah, this went viral. But there's no circumstances. The fan's identity is unknown, as are the circumstances that led to such a moment, which has since been immortalized in the viral image.
You know whose identity is more important to know? The person who took a photo of a naked stranger in the bathroom. What's wrong with you?
That's a good point.
What's wrong with you?
By the way, it hasn't been Heinz Field for a few years, so that must be a few years old. Yeah.
It's 2021.
2021. Okay. All right.
Pay attention.
Sorry. I'm still trying to get used to it. Like Acrisure, I think it's an insurance company, and as part of their cool sponsorship deal, we were talking about the AT&T sponsorship with Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys. Do you know what what we got to see on the billboard? Were all the emergency exits.
Oh.
They run you through at some point the emergency exits, and the team was already down by 20-something points by that point. And people were like, "That seems like a good idea."
Yeah, no, good idea.
So we have a new captain of the Vancouver Canucks, Mr. Quinn Hughes.
Elias Pettersson. Oh, what?
Yeah.
Oh,
Now,
okay.
Now it was between the two of them. If I had asked you guys yesterday, what would you have said? Would you have said Pettersson or Hughes?
JT Miller.
Oh,
JT Miller. Yeah.
The more logical pick is actually Quinn Hughes.
Why?
Because he's the one actually committed to the team for a significant period of time, whereas Elias Pettersson could be gone in a year.
Right.
So, you know what I mean? Like, if you name Pettersson captain, you give him even more leverage heading into a negotiation where he has all of it because you chose to bridge him when you shouldn't have.
Well, the
There it
previous
is.
guy did, right?
Well, yes. Yes, so it's not Patrick Allvin's fault, I suppose. But that contract's not done.
Okay, so
and I think we should talk about it every fucking day.
I want to ask though, does exactly?
He is an RFA at the end of this season.
Oh, he is?
Pettersson. Yeah, so he's an RFA at the end of this year, so they're still under control, team control, but they need an extension.
How many
at some point.
RFA years does he have left, Jesse? One?
Would he be 26 when he gets? So it's 2. I would assume.
Didn't they screw up with him where his qualifying offer is $10 million?
Is he another one of those?
I think he is.
Because there's been a couple.
Yeah, that
Timo
happened
Meier?
with Timo Meier. Yeah, last season. I don't know what his QO would be at the end of this,
I'm
but
almost positive it's 10.
qualifying offers 8.8. There you go. It's not 10.
That's pretty high.
8.82.
But for him-
which is actually reasonable. It's only it's a million and a bit raise from what he's making right now.
I don't
but like you.
I don't
you
mind Pettersson. If you get Pettersson at that number, that's
yeah. For
amazing.
1 year.
You also
1
don't
year,
want to get
yeah.
in a situation where you're qualifying him, right?
Yeah.
You want to this season you figure out a long-term contract with Pettersson.
I thought it was 10 for some reason.
It's 8.82.
Anyway.
Okay, so this is a weird question, but did him not having an extension done cost him the captaincy?
It could have. I mean, like, this is very unfair to Quinn Hughes.
Of
because,
course, because Quinn Hughes rules.
like he's legitimately. I mean, we'll never know what they're like in the dressing room unless they tell us, right? But I spoke to Quinn Hughes, and every conversation, interview I've ever heard with Quinn Hughes, like he is very quickly going from kind of quiet rookie to super confident, self-aware young man. Not to sound like an old, but no, that's a mature guy with an underrated fire to him, and I think he's a good choice for captain for the Canucks.
I don't think the Hughes guys are the brothers. Any of them are lacking in self-confidence.
What a family!
Well, yeah, they're just a family of we're pretty good.
Yeah,
Like,
we're pretty good.
Yeah, just ask us. And you know what? I love that. I love the way Jack Hughes.
Just ask us.
Yeah, no. And honestly, I think it was like Jack Hughes was on Tim and Friends last year, and like I think when they asked him like something about his brother, he's like, "Well, they didn't really have a great team last year, but my brother was really good." And I was like, "Man, that's true."
I would
Very
like you
true.
to find the lie.
Exactly. I loved that he came out and said it though. Most guys would have kind of sidestepped that. I love their attitude. It's the best. So I think that's a kind of a cool thing for Quinn Hughes as well. I mean, what an honor to be a Canucks captain. You join greats like Mark Messier.
None others.
No others.
others.
Just Mark Messier.
No, just mess.
Yeah.
On the Pettersson front, he was asked about being captain last season on an episode of After Hours. You know, the show.
With Scott Oak.
Scott Oak. Yeah. And his response is pretty interesting. I'll read it right now. He said, "That'll definitely be an honor, but for me, I don't want to stress or rush into a decision. I've never been a captain. Everyone knows I'm a pretty quiet guy, so it would definitely be an honor, but I want to take my time thinking about it. in the summer and make a decision. So based on that, it sounds like they might have been conversations previously with Pettersson about maybe becoming captain one day, and maybe he didn't feel up to the task. Maybe they thought like Quinn's the better choice. Well, they obviously thought Quinn's the better choice, but I thought that was an interesting quote. Yeah. Him to speak on it directly like that.
Well, and to say, he did say later on, I've never been a captain.
Yeah.
Everyone knows I'm a quiet guy. Okay, so that's fine. But I do find that kind of fascinating. Like it's
mature.
It's very mature, but it's like a 2-player race for it. Like when Tavares was named captain, there was sort of a 2-player race in Toronto. It was actually 3. A lot of people said Riley, a lot of people said Tavares. Most people, I think, at the time were like, it's probably going to be Matthews. Mm-hmm. And
I still think that was the plan.
Yeah, until he, the mooning thing came up. Yeah, absolutely, that was.
And I'm just not going to tell the Leafs about it.
That was.
I'm just not going to tell them. I'm going to let this be a nice little preseason surprise for everybody. It's very underratedly fucking stupid.
Yeah. Well, you said at the time, like, man, Kyle Dubas goes to the wall for these guys, and like they don't go back for him.
Never repaid him. Never, not once. Yeah,
it's crazy. Isn't
never,
it?
Not once.
Crazy. Mm-hmm. That's a shit. Like for a guy that's had your back, it's a shitty thing to do.
Yeah.
Really shitty.
Yeah.
Hopefully there was a learning experience. The other thing I wonder with Quinn Hughes as the captain of the Canucks is, I think everybody's sort of waiting to see what this team is with the Vancouver Canucks, and we could talk about that, at nauseum. Are they going to be a playoff team? Are they going to be, and if not, there's going to have to be some sort of retool again.
Western Canada is pretty fascinating because, I mean, you got the Flames who we thought were going to do everything, and they did virtually nothing.
Nothing, yeah.
But, like, you could even justify them doing not very much because, I mean, they should have been better.
Yep.
They 100% should have been better. I don't know if they should be up near the top of the conference or anything, but, I mean, they should have been in the playoff conversation for crying out loud. They were pathetic, especially down the back half. But the Canucks... I don't know how many consecutive years I can say it, but I still don't think they're as bad as they.
They're not. I mean, there's real talent on the roster.
Their decor is shocking. It's genuinely terrible.
Let me run you through it. Quinn Hughes, Tyler Myers, Philip Roenick, Carson Soucy, Ian Cole, Jack Rathburn, Guillaume Brisebois, Matt Irwin, and then there's also Tucker Poolman, who is on long-term injury reserve at the moment, but may come off, and used to feature Oliver Ekman-Larsson, but he's bought out.
Adding Hronik was good
for a first-round pick.
Yeah, I don't know about the trade itself, but adding Hronik is good. You got your big left side guy, you got your big right side guy, but it's basically 3 through whatever.
Yeah,
that's terrible. That's really, really bad, man.
Yeah, it's pretty rough.
And like your game plan cannot be we're going to score some goals and just break Thatcher Demko over our knee like Bane.
I'm wondering how because they're I don't know much about their backup goalie Spencer Martin beyond he's a year older than Thatcher Demko. Is he?
He was the Mississauga Steelheads goalie when I was there.
Okay.
Yeah. He was really good. He was I think a 3rd-round pick of the Avalanche. He's given them some good games.
Okay.
But I think any Canucks fan will probably tell you he did a little bit more sinking than swimming last year. But again, I think a big part of that is their D is just terrible. And they need to get better at that. I think, part of the reason that JT Miller conversation with how bad his defense is. I think part of the reason, or part of what exacerbates that is just you don't have 2 defensemen.
There's nothing
on the
behind
ice.
JT Miller.
No, there's nothing behind him. The goalie, yeah.
Spencer Martin's stats last year: 11-15 with an .871 save percentage. He has
71.
He has 38 career games in the NHL. 885 is his save percentage over all of that. So you feel like maybe the Canucks are in the market for a backup, and they are.
Yeah.
By the way, on Cap Friendly at least, they are the 3rd highest salaried team behind the Leafs and the Lightning. in the NHL.
Really?
Yeah,
That's
I mean, obviously,
madness.
some of that's going to be long-term injury reserve and all that stuff too, right? Like the Leafs have to, but
Way too many teams have 3 goalies right now.
well, yeah. I mean, I'm sure the Canucks are going to be able to pick up somebody on waivers.
Martin Jones, you are a Vancouver Canuck. Calling it right now.
Speaking of, Pierre LeBrun sat down with Brad Treliving, and I figured I'd kind of go through it because the article's been out all weekend. Sort of, what did we learn?
What did we learn?
And I want to know what your reaction, guys, is to some of the things that Brad Treliving says, because I think a lot of the story for the first part of this year for Leaf fans is going to be this is the first non-Dubas year since like 2014. And I know that Lamoriello ran the team, but Dubas was a huge part of the narrative always.
Dude, even my brain, when you were like, oh, he sat down Brad Treliving, and I'm like, all right, what are the Flames up to?
Let's talk to the Flames. Yeah. This is going to be a really different year. And so let's start with the Matthews extension. He said it's huge. First of all, you get one of the top players in the game done before training camp, so you guys don't have to call me about that before camp. Treliving seems to have a good sense of humor.
Yes.
So that's good.
Yes,
Number 2.
He has an excellent rapport with the media.
On Nylander. He said, I'm not going to get into that play-by-play other than to say he's a very good player and you always want to keep good players. He's told me he wants to be in Toronto. That's the most important thing. If there's a desire on both sides, then you should be able to come to an agreement. And LeBrun adds in there, they haven't hit a wall in contract talks, which is noteworthy. He said, no. We'll talk here prior to getting the season started, and we'll see where we're at. But we still have a year. And Louis Gross responded to this, and I love this.
Oh, he got both of them.
Yeah. He said, we're open to getting a deal done as well.
Oh, good. Thank you, Louis.
and LeBron sort of editorialized here, but I thought this was key. He said, so if I were to read between the lines, I don't think the trade deadline in March will be much of a factor as long as the Leafs are contenders again. They seem to be willing to go all the way to next summer to get Nylander's contract done. Is that the right call?
Absolutely not. No. You can't. Because you're going to repeat the same mistake you've made 1,000 times. Learn, man. What is the point of getting a new guy if you're going to do all the same shit the last guy did? What's the point? JVR, no, we're going to do the own rental thing. Gone. Hyman, we're going to do... Gone.
Bozak,
gone.
Gardner.
Mikheyev, gone. Gardner, gone. You didn't get shit for any of those guys.
Anderson, injured, and then gone.
That's a little different.
That was different.
Guys, what are we doing here? Now, here. So I know I'm negative every time we talk about this because I'm so sick of talking about these contract holdups. And you know what? I've already done the Nylander one.
You've been through this movie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like
we live this.
You ever see a preview for a sequel no one asked for? Like, no, we don't need this. We don't need this right now. But I'm just going to say this. It was encouraging. It sounds like it's heading in the right direction. But if Nylander's camp pulls this we don't want to negotiate during the season thing, trade him immediately.
Really?
Yes.
No, now isn't he on some sort of no trade or something like that?
He has trade
Some protection. Modified no trade, 10-team no trade list.
Now, what he could do, I was speaking to someone about this, what he could do, and this would be risky, is just name 10 teams that you think the Leafs could potentially trade you to, right? Don't necessarily put 10 teams that you don't want to go to.
Right.
Put the 10 teams they could potentially trade you to.
That's pretty
as a negotiation.
That's pretty difficult to do on July 1st.
Yes.
Like, I don't think you could predict that.
Well, put it this way. The list would be a lot different on July 1st than it would be today because the cap situation for a bunch of teams is different.
That's what I'm saying.
You could theoretically do that. I mean, how many teams can just take on a $7 million player right now? $7 million players have been getting traded for nothing in recent memory.
Yes.
Max Pacioretty, Marc-Andre Fleury, just Alan Walsh clients. So maybe Willie's fine.
Brent Burns was traded for basically next to
That's
nothing.
right.
Yeah. Eric Carlson got traded for something, but
That's right.
and I think $7 million player. You know who got traded as a $7 million player at the deadline last year?
Who?
That's right, John Klingberg. Andre Suster.
Yes.
To the Minnesota
Did he?
Wild. Yeah,
that was the trade?
That was the trade. And there was I think there was a pick in there or something.
Andre Suster, dude who's been around forever, whose career, like every now and then, he just pops up on the ticker. Mm-hmm. He's like an extra. You know what I mean? Yeah. But like an extra that you've seen in other movies.
Yeah.
So it's
character actor.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you're not sure if you like the character.
Never in a speaking role. You're just henchman number 2.
Jesse, as the GM with ice in his veins, who once in NHL traded Tavares for Lucas Raymond.
Yeah.
And alienated a bunch of people. People were so mad at you for that. What would you do here? Like, what do you think? Because, okay, Steve's saying if he starts the year and they're like, well, we won't negotiate in season, trade him immediately. I have a feeling that your opinion of that is not the same. What are your thoughts on it?
They're not saying that, though. Like, Louis Gross isn't saying that.
No,
right?
Steve's saying that.
Steve's making up this fake scenario, so I don't know.
This fake, scenario that happens all the time.
It does.
I don't think they get to that point where they refuse to negotiate in season.
Agree.
I think they keep the conversation fluid, and I think they'll get something done. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, has Brad Treliving made the decision that it's about keeping Nylander? It sounds like he has.
Yeah, like I get that impression.
Like,
it's not just that Willie wants to stay here; it's Brad wants to keep him.
Yeah. I kind of also feel like if he didn't, he wouldn't have got the job. Is
that's a pretty good point?
Is that unfair? Like Shanahan there's a part to play in all this, right? Shanahan is the guy that Dubas tried to make the power play against in the corporate ladder and lost and then left.
Dubas was viciously loyal to the Leafs core. And the moment he blinked in that regard, the moment he alluded to maybe trading one of them, it never happened, right? Because Shanahan fired him.
Jesse, what do you do there?
I want to know what it was.
Jesse, do you think Nylander ends up traded? Do you think he ends up signed?
I don't know, because it depends on that number. Like, if it comes down, I think they're going to land at a reasonable place. And the interesting thing about the Leafs salary cap is the John Tavares contract that comes off the books next season. It's
next season, eh?
It's at the end of the 2025 season.
No.
At the end of the 2025 season.
Yeah, wow.
John Tavares is a UFA.
Damn.
No.
And I find that fascinating because...
Where does the time go?
Right? And Mitch is a little different because I believe like he'll resign and the salary cap will be so much higher then. But JT's not resigning for $11 million. And John Tavares in that position at the age of 34 going to 35 at that point can sign like a really big reasonable discount.
I think that's what's happening.
Something that'll be like $4 million, $5 million, $6 million, something.
If it's that high, I'd be shocked.
It's gonna be half or somewhere in there of $11 million, I think.
I could see 6.
And with the salary cap going up significantly, plus getting an extra, let's say it's $5 million in cap space, there's something really interesting that the Leafs can be going for here come the 2025-2026 season, because you always got to be looking ahead, even though you're trying to win every single year. And with Nylander under contract at something that's works for both sides, the Leafs can be contenders for like their window here that we think, hey, it's a 3-year window or something like that. It's been extended with the Matthews deal, and now with Tavares, his contract coming a little lower, and then the salary cap going up. This window here for the Leafs could be an extra 4 years.
Damn. That's really encouraging, Jesse.
Yeah, so I
like
that.
that.
Way of putting it.
There's a lot of upside to getting this Nylander done, a deal done on a deal that works for both sides, and the Leafs keeping this window here going throughout this guy. All these 4 guys, like their entire primes.
Here's my bet.
A window where they can win. It'll be fun.
Nylander is what? He's 28, 27?
27.
Okay. So my bet is to keep the number lower. They go 5 years.
Till he's 32. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that they go between 8.5 and 9. I think that's where ultimately it settles. Would you be upset with that? That's my guess.
I'm going to give you the number, and you're going to be shocked. You know what? There is a player worth giving his jersey number. William Nylander. Give him the old 8.8.
Yeah.
Put it in the contract.
8.8. I would go as high as 8.8 the whole way through.
8's repeated with the little dash at the top.
Yes.
Love that.
I would give him that, and I don't know if people would be thrilled with that, but everyone would feel okay with it, which probably means it's fair.
Would you go into the $9 million range? Like if it was 9-1?
It would have to be like for it to start with a 9. That's sort of what it would have to be.
Also,
I think
I don't think the
have
Leafs
to be that low.
The Leafs don't want to go beyond 4 or 5 years here, right?
No, I don't think that makes any sense.
Because you don't want to be in the 8. Although, to be honest with you, if he's still a 60 or 70 point player, come year 6 of whatever this proposed deal would be, what's 8 or close to $9 million at that point? You know what? Maybe a player of that ilk is worth that much if the cap is supposed to go up by $20 million in that time.
Like the way with the cap going up, the Leafs are in just like a really interesting spot because you have all these teams like the Sabres, for example, and what they did with Dahlin, that are going to want to lock these guys up to $1 billion.
Rumored to have done, still not done.
Really?
Yeah, because I think there was some talk in the Athletic I was reading this morning that like they were asking Kevin Adams about how the Jake Sanderson deal affected it. And he's like, oh, we don't worry about that. Yes, they do. But yeah, 10.5 is still the rumor.
Whoop, something too much.
I bet they get that done before the season starts, and it's a great PR move for the Sabres. They should get it done, but
right.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry to interrupt that, but I just want to let you know it's not done.
I'm trying to remember where I was going. Oh yeah, but the Leafs don't want to do that. You want to do that with like, I don't know, Nyes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But Matthews, Marner, Nyland, no. These guys this is their prime.
Right now,
you're watching the best they're ever going to be. And 4 or 5 years from now, you won't be. You'll still be watching elite players, maybe even championship quality players, guys that could either do it here or somewhere else, more than likely somewhere else. But this is the best they'll ever be. So why are you signing them to bajillion-year contracts?
Unless they want that. I don't know.
If they're willing to take what Engvall did, then sure.
I'm just gonna say, should the Leafs put Nyes on an Engvall contract? 7 years, $3 million per.
He would never.
Of course not. But
he would. I think they'd request a trade with the offer. How dare you insult me?
Crazy deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I wanted to know what you guys thought of that because I'm trying. I think the number is between 8.5 and 9. I think that's the easy one.
8.8.
The question for me is, we don't know how many years. We don't even have rumors on how many years that contract is supposed to be.
No.
Keep it low.
Keep it low.
You know, we don't need Nylander for 6 years.
So regarding, and this is the last thing in the Treliving thing, regarding how he wants the team to play with the additions of guys like Domi and Bertuzzi and Reeves. He said, there's a style that I think you need to have. Not only do I think it's a part of what I like, but, you know, if you look around the league, there's a type of style that you need to have success in the playoffs, and that is not changing anytime soon. So there is maybe perhaps, I mean, he is the public face of the Leafs management group. Maybe there is some sort of recognition there. This is the first admission that I can see where the Leafs finally said, we're like publicly, we're not tough enough in the playoffs. Because if you look at their actions, Domi and Bertuzzi, they would have been players that the Leafs probably would have looked at before, but they didn't necessarily fit exactly what they would go for. Reeves especially.
Yes.
And I know people still have tons of questions about that deal. That deal, you can bury that deal, guys. Don't worry about that deal. The thing that I find very interesting is the Leafs going, okay, we're tired of getting panthered. We're tired of getting Bruined. We're tired of getting blue jacketed. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Can I just say the new Leafs website is awful?
Oh yeah, the NHL.
Sorry, I was trying to look up the home opener and just
the NHL redid all the websites and they're terrible.
They arrange it by week.
Yeah.
Like the schedule. What are you doing?
Yeah, it's terrible.
Stop that.
Yeah.
Anyway, no. So here's what it's going to be.
Okay, I'm ready.
Ryan Reeves, Arbor Jackeye.
Oh, you mean game 1?
Center ice.
October 10th.
Game 1. You got like a top 5 heavyweight in the league near the end of his career and a top 5 heavyweight in the league at the beginning of his career. They're going to go toe-to-toe. Max Domi is going to try to fight. I don't know if he's going to find a dance partner. Tyler Bertuzzi is going to piss someone off. And like people are going to laugh at some of the names that I'm going to bring up, but like Sam Lafferty fights. Simone Benoit, I doubt makes the lineup, but he fights. Noah Gregor, who's on a PTO, he fights. If you go and look at every signing Treliving has made since the beginning of his Leaf tenure, every one of them fights.
Except for John Klingberg.
John Klingberg fights.
Does he fight?
He absolutely fights. Not often, but he fought Matthew Tkachuk, I'm pretty sure.
Oh,
in
yeah,
the playoffs.
yeah, he did. Yeah.
I don't know if Martin
Yeah.
Jones has ever fought.
That's
about it.
Yeah.
Like the goalie. Like I don't know if the goalie fought. But
Yeah.
if you like, I don't have it in front of me. Like I don't know if Lagesson fights. I don't know if
I forgot how much Klingberg and Tkachuk hated each other. Now they're
it
back
was
in the
a
same division.
distraction. Like,
Yeah.
it was really. But if you go and look, like the guys who are going to play higher in the lineup, like a Bertuzzi or Domi, or the guys who play near the bottom and may not even make the team, all of them fight. I think game one, the home opener, best case scenario for the Leafs, and it's been many years since we've said this, best case scenario for the Leafs is it's anarchy. I barely even care if they win.
So what are they trying to do if that's the case?
Fuck shit up.
Establish
you know
dominance?
Will Ferrell and what's his John C. Reilly?
Yeah.
When they go for the job interviews in Step Brothers and they say, what are you doing here? We're here to fuck shit up. Lose 7-2. I don't care. Just make a statement that the Leafs have changed. I think. Do you know how many people wouldn't even care that they lost if that's what they did? I'm serious.
There'd be a lot of very happy uncles.
Yeah, we were talking about this yesterday.
Jesse's
Wendell Clark and Doug Gilmour are a big reason why a lot of fans don't like this current team.
Well, a certain generation, maybe.
Yeah.
It's more than you think.
I don't think the kids these days are like, you know what? I miss Dougie.
The kids these days aren't the only people
Yeah.
who exist.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. 100%.
There's a divide. You have to admit there's a divide.
Of course, and it's generational.
Yeah. I think that was the point.
Yeah.
But more of the quote-unquote kids these days are warming up to the idea of, they kind of get their ass kicked all the time, and it's a contributing factor to why they lose.
Sure. I think it's
Where's the butt?
simplifying the Florida series down to I wish Ryan Reeves was out there to beat somebody up. Is like we spent a lot of time dissecting that series after every single
I don't
game.
think that's why they lost that
Yeah.
series. I mean, it's part of the reason they lost that series, but it's just there's yet another one where they're the second toughest team.
Right.
Yet another.
Yeah. Listen, people loved the fact that Doug Gilmour and Wendell Clark used to run around like maniacs. Even though they probably shouldn't have been. They probably should have had players on that team that were lower down in the lineup, a la a Ryan Reeves.
Not even big.
To fight. No, they're not big.
Marner might be bigger than Gilmour.
Marner is bigger than Gilmour. I've stood next to... I'm taller than Doug Gilmour.
That's crazy.
And he was vicious, man.
And before you start talking about weight, like I don't think there's more than 10 pounds separating them.
Probably not. Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. And Wendell Clark's not a tall man either. He's broad. Very broad.
Crazy hands.
Yeah.
Insanely big
Big
baseball
hands.
mitt.
Yeah. I know. I'm really excited for the way the Leafs are going to play this year. Maybe I'm not on the. I'm not necessarily on this Steve. Oh, if they lose 7-2, I won't give a shit as long as Ryan Reeves fills somebody's face in. But I do think
I don't want them to lose 7-2. I think I'm walking that one back.
Well, I think some people will. They'll tweet that like you were serious. But I do think when you look at
No way.
I think when you look at the way that the team's going to play, it's going to change significantly. The other question I have, and they didn't address this in the article, I still want to know what they think they have with John Klingberg. And what bothers me about that signing is Matt Dumba signed like a week later for the same amount of money.
I do not know. So people, I bump into them during the summer, and they're like, "What do you think? What's going on?" And I keep saying, "No, the team is too incomplete. Like I'm not going to judge them or whatever." And it was mainly because of their decor. Like I look at their decor, I'm like, they're not going into the season with that. And now we're a month away from opening night, and I'm like,
all Treliving said in the article was that it's a work in progress. And
I think that's putting it gently.
The thing with Klingberg is he does give them something they did not have, which is goal scoring from the back end. Even in his shittiest bad year, he had 10 goals last year. I think the Leafs' highest were like Liljegren and Riley with 6.
Yeah, they went an astronomical amount of time last season without a goal from their defense.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
And that, like,
I
you
saw
can't.
Liljegren score live.
Oh.
It's like a golden ticket.
Yeah. Haley's Comet collided with the moon.
They
It
haven't.
was a game-tying goal against the Rangers.
They haven't had a weapon like a shot weapon from the point. Like Riley's obviously a machine on the power play. He's had a season where he had 72 points, but if he's not injured, he's great. I mean, you saw him in the playoffs; he's unbelievable. But they haven't had that like terrifying defenseman threat for a while. The problem with John Klingberg is he's terrifying when he has the puck and when he doesn't.
I think they're going to get, yes, first of all, that's very true. I think it's going to be a big season for guys who fuck shit up in front of the net. Because what Klingberg does, and Jeff Merrick was always on this during episodes of Ice Surfing, because for some reason we got a bunch of Stars games. Klingberg rips the shot on high.
Why?
That's what he does.
That's the worst idea. That's the worst thing you can do.
Floats it on high.
Jesus.
But it's going to be big for guys who know how to tip in a puck.
Okay, are you talking like eye level high? Or are we talking
I fucking hope not.
Are we talking
You're
like
not
a foot
allowed
off
to
the
tip
ice?
in a high level.
That's illegal.
No, that's just a bad shot.
Yeah.
Well,
eye level is missing the net.
Okay,
entirely.
what's high to you? Because high, that's where my mind instantly went.
Crossbar.
Nipples.
Nipples.
Sure, crossbar.
Crossbar. Then it's legal.
But then you gotta
See, nipples is better.
Yeah.
Crossbar is nipples. It's got to be nipples.
Okay.
Nipples.
Rip it nipple height.
So you think that, and do we have guys that can do that now?
John Tavares is one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Matthews is underratedly one of them. You don't think about that because he's such a...
The shot is such a highlight.
Yeah. Willie's great at that.
He scores a lot from in close.
Bertuzzi can probably get... Like, just go to the net. Literally just go to the net. I don't know if... Boy, the Leafs, the weapons really do drop off. You know who does that? Nyes.
Yeah?
Nyes could have a real nice rookie season.
Well, I sure hope he's stapled to David Kampf and Calle Yarncroke.
Yeah, like, again,
I don't think that's
keep
gonna go
trying
in.
to make my mock rosters, and I don't know what they're thinking. Like, I don't know what's going on. I think because you have a new GM, I think there's a really good chance we see like an October, November, December trade. Something going on. Because he's probably got ideas of how he thinks it's going to look, but you don't know until it's out there.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you wait until you see it, and it either confirms what you were thinking in the first place or the opposite. They're a very strange team.
Certainly. No question. They're a team in transition.
I mean,
The roster's in transition. It has to be.
How do you feel if you're a defender used to getting power play time and you're on a team behind John Klingberg and Morgan Riley?
Yeah, but who's that?
Well, like
Connor Timmins? Boo-hoo.
Mark Giordano is basically never going to play the power play now.
Yeah.
Unless they have 2D
I think
out
that's
there.
fine
That's okay.
for a 39-year-old.
I agree, but like that's a conversation that like I don't know if Mr. Giordano, I forgot I was wearing his shirt.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how he feels about that. You know what I mean?
I think
Brody likes his power play time as well.
Yeah. I think that's a fine conversation with Mark Giordano. You know, I don't think that's a difficult one when he's getting up in age and he's not going to be as useful in that power play. You need to save him for more important moments.
Yeah, I do get the sense that he probably understands his role a little bit in that regard, right?
Probably.
And I'm wondering about Riley on the power play because the last time we did this, it was Tyson Barrie, and they couldn't get Tyson Barrie going, so they took Morgan Riley out of a position he was extremely successful at the season before, which was power play 1, where he had 72 points. Not all in the power play, but still pretty good. And they made him take a back seat just so they could get Tyson Barrie going. And you know, and here's the other thing. I think that there is an argument to be made, and we should look at it. Have the Leafs tried the one power play and the second unit doesn't really exist thing for long enough? You know, because
they should have 2 units.
should they have 2 units?
There was a little stretch last season where the second unit was the top unit, which has happened
And Willie
far
was
too
on that.
often over the last
Willie
half
was on
decade.
that, right?
Yep.
I don't know. Just wondering because it seems like maybe they're looking for more of a balance that way. Given that, now I'm always of the belief that you should try to overload and put all your best players on the eggs in one basket.
I don't know what they want.
But you've got 2 legitimate power play defensemen now. What do you do?
And Tyler Bertuzzi is going to change all that too, especially we don't even know if Matthew Nyes might make a power play too. Like there's a lot more weapons that you can throw around now. I think the power play is going to look a lot different.
Does Nicky Bobby make the team? You got to get him his power play cookies.
Yeah.
This is going to be I just stopped myself from committing to preseason LFR videos. I'm not going to commit to that. But like, it's going to be a more fascinating preseason than usual because what this team values is different than what it was before.
But and I don't know. And the reason I wanted to go through this interview is because I don't know that we have fully heard that from them yet. And now we sort of are getting points. We've seen it in the action. But sometimes it's important to hear the statement too, right? Mm-hmm. And what does this team value? I mean, I know Treliving loves a big, scary defense.
Well, look at it this way. If you're like a tweener sort of guy on the Marlies and you know you're going to get some preseason games, here's your opportunity to impress a new set of eyes, like an entirely new set of eyes. Brandon Pridham's still there, but like Shane Doan wasn't there before. Mm-hmm. Brad Treliving wasn't there before.
Guy Boucher
wasn't there before.
Who replaced Carberry?
I think it was Guy Boucher.
Who's the other guy? Mike Van Ryn's in there now, too.
Mike Van Ryn wasn't there before. There's another member of management. Oh, man, the guy they got from the Canucks.
The personnel guy, the player personnel. Derek something.
Yeah. He wasn't there before. Mm-hmm. You've got an entirely different set of eyes that have entirely different values and look at the game a different way and or similar ways, or I don't know. Mm-hmm. It's a brand new opportunity. Like, I think of a guy like Bobby McMahon, for example. Like, we all looked at it like, okay, next season there's a good chance he has an opening night roster spot. Does this new management group help or hurt that? I don't know.
I think it's up to Bobby, isn't it?
It sure is. Well, yeah.
But then he has to go through the work of re-impressing everybody.
Yeah, good hockey is good hockey, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because now you don't... Now the people in charge of making decisions don't look as smart if you make it. Right? Dubas would have looked like a friggin' genius because he got this, random free agent from out of nowhere. And I'm surprised he didn't take him with him to Pittsburgh.
Yeah, he didn't.
He did take some members of the Leafs organization with him. Achari, and there was a guy who was on a Marlies contract, John Stone, I think. There was a guy who was on a Marlies contract, and he signed him to an NHL contract.
Okay.
He took a few guys with him.
All right. Well, and who could blame him?
He's really smart.
Yeah, I think what is going to be great is, in the next couple weeks here, we're going to have rookie camps, and then the actual training camps are going to open, and we're going to start to see what the Leafs want to be. They are not, this organizational group does not have the team that they ultimately want to have. They're not there yet. They've admitted that, especially with the defense. What I'm curious about is what is it? And what moves do they make now? And what moves do they make at the deadline? If we could get a November or December trade, that'd be nice because we rarely get them.
Oh, from a content standpoint, go for it.
Be great.
Please, make as many trades as possible.
Fresh ball fall is upon us.
Yeah.
Woo! And if you need to be in the festive fresh ball fall spirit, light a candle, get some pumpkin spice, and make sure those balls look super nice with our sponsor, Manscaped.
It's a little too Christmassy.
I know.
The rhyming.
They're like, it's time for nice flannels and cozy socks. Not really. Not yet. I guess later in the fall. But I'm feeling like flannels don't come out till like November at least, right?
Certainly not for your ball.
No, exactly. Don't forget the Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer with advanced skin-safe technology reduces nicks and cuts to make raking the leaves a lot less painful.
Ooh.
Right?
That's vivid.
Now, once you've cleared your driveway, the Performance Package comes in hot with products to cool you down, like the Crop Preserver Ball Deodorant and Crop Reviver Ball Spray Toner. One to prevent stink and the other one to clear it up. Yeah.
Do they have a leaf blower?
I don't think they have done. They should do a leaf blower.
There's an idea.
Manscaped. So listen, if you want to bring fall to your balls, get 20% off. That's in the script, by the way, and free shipping with the code DANGLE at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping.
You're not even talking about the best thing.
What's the thing?
There's an exclusive offer happening right now.
Oh.
When you go to manscaped.com/dangle, you also get free boxers and a travel bag.
It's a good travel bag.
With the purchase of your Performance Package 4.0 or the Platinum Package 4.0. When you buy it, they throw in free boxers and a travel bag.
20% off, free shipping, manscaped.com. Use that code DANGLE, DANGLE.
They should throw in the obliques of that model.
Yeah, I know. I'm kind of jealous. The Jets, according to Russo and LeBrun, There's some general manager meetings, obviously, this past week.
Busy boy.
Kevin Cheveldayoff was asked about both of these guys, and he said that he expects Connor Hellebuyck to be playing for the Jets on opening night. And he said the narrative took on a life of its own. Obviously, we made some changes to our organization, and I think we're situated to be in a real good competitive spot. Our focus is winning. That's what we're all about. So every challenge we approach, every opportunity, every time we get the chance to look at a different situation, it's about putting us in the best perspective and the best place to win. That hasn't changed and won't change for our organization. So with all that in mind, remember that Hellebuyck and Scheifele on their last year of their deals, and they can walk.
Who said this?
This is Cheveldayoff.
At some point, narrative became the number one word used in all of gaslighting.
What do you mean?
It's like that has been a word for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
And it just feels like at some point over the last, 4 years or so, 5 years, everyone learned narrative and abused the shit out of it and used it to gaslight everybody.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
That.
Ah, yes, the narrative of trading Connor Hellebuyck. He's one of the best goalies in the league and your team stinks. Narrative? That's the truth. That is what it is, man. It's just he's stuck on a team with a GM who very rarely does anything. What's his... Oh, you. That's where the narrative comes from, Kevin. Sorry, I get very defensive when
Jesse?
people go, the narrative.
Jesse,
The Winnipeg Jets shouldn't be too bad. I feel like they should be better than they were last year.
They're a wild cardish team.
They should be competitive, and I don't know if you're a Chevy and you have one of the best goaltenders in the world, why not try and lock him up?
Oh, totally. But what does that make any sense for Connor Hellebuyck unless they overpay him?
Well, and they might have to, because I'm curious about the Jets always seem to be competitive, no question. I think Chevy's right on that. But what's the big player coming up through the organization? What's the future here? What's the goal? Wheeler's gone, obviously, and he's in New York. Scheifele is, we're a year and a half removed from Scheifele saying, I just need to know what's going to happen at the end of this year, or, where this team direction is going to be.
Ville Heinola. Just kidding. They're still holding him hostage.
That's right. I don't know. I'm curious about the Jets, man.
But I look at them and I say that Brad Lambert, their pick from, last season, was a pretty good job.
Cole Perfetti. They have guys.
I say that the young core, not the young core, but the core that can win is kind of there right now. You don't need to really move off of a lot. You still have Kyle Connor. You still have Ehlers. You got Josh Morrissey. Those guys are not in their 30s. They're in their late 20s. And there's still a shot here for them to be decent.
Yeah, you know what I was thinking? A match that I think makes a lot of sense. So Mark Scheifele was in a lot of these rumors as well. You know who just lost their top two centers? The Bruins. Scheifele to the Bruins, to me, makes a bunch of sense.
You have to retain some salary. I don't think they can make any salary work, right?
No, probably not. But he's only at 6.125 for this season. And then he's a UFA, which is obviously not very appealing. And he has a modified no trade clause. But I don't know. To me, it just feels like a good match.
Yeah, I don't know. If you can move Scheifele, retain some assets, I don't see the Winnipeg Jets being too far down the standings where they need to get rid of Hellebuyck.
No.
And okay, and you have to think that Chevy knows what Hellebuyck's number is. I'm sure he's picked up the phone to his agent this summer. Do you think they move on from Scheifele for sure?
No, not for sure. I mean, he might be the belle of the ball at the trade deadline.
Oh yeah, well, especially at 6.125, and then trade deadline number, and then 50% retained.
Less than 3.6.
With Cheveldayoff too. When was the last time a giant goaltender contract worked out?
Wow.
I guess it'd be Vasilevsky.
It's funny. We look at Carey Price and we're like, oh man, that contract was a terrible idea. And he got him to the Stanley Cup final.
Yeah.
And we look at Sergei Bobrovsky and that contract was a terrible idea. And he got him to the Stanley Cup final. And Vasilevsky, I think, is the next highest behind them.
Yeah, he's 9.
3 straight Stanley Cup finals. So overall, do they work out? Not really.
But in a way.
But every one of them has at least been to the dance.
Mm-hmm. They've kind of worked out.
Yeah, that's it's an interesting one.
I don't know. I think when you have somebody like Hellebuyck and a lineup that's okay, because is the other option you tear it down completely and you try and rebuild. I don't think they're in the mood for that at all. And I think there's so many pieces that it'd be difficult to do that.
The easiest thing to do is, like, I don't know, try to draft well in net. Like 3 years out from this situation even being a thing, right? Like so many teams have done that where they very clearly have a guy and then they're like, okay, well, we know that guy's not going to be around forever. We'll draft a guy. We'll have it so that he's playing pro and maybe even being this guy's backup and they take over when he's done. Look at what Nashville did with UC Saros. Basically perfect, like behind Pecorino. Maybe even should have started him before that, right? Vasilevsky behind Ben Bishop. Trying to think of some other examples. The Jets don't have that. They don't have the guy behind them.
Mm-hmm. And I just think like you're in a position where you keep him.
Yeah.
Especially
it's way more fun to theorize about him getting traded.
Yeah.
For sure. But like
It sure does make a lot of sense for him to just stay.
well,
Yeah.
the Jets,
If he will.
the Jets would be putting themselves in a really shitty position.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if the goal
like,
is to win, you better keep him.
Hellebuyck is 30, so I would be wary of a very long-term contract, but
But if you're him,
if he goes to free agency, somebody's giving it to him.
I mean, Hellebuyck and Scheifele are kind of the perfect trade deadline guys. If the Jets falter. They are.
Mm-hmm.
They are. They're perfect.
The other side of the coin is if you do trade him, like you said, is a trade deadline guy, and the haul that you could get. And if that haul is significant enough where if we just take that, all the pieces we get back, and we're competitive in 24-25, why not just do that?
Like do what the Blues did, basically. I have a hard time picturing the Jets coming out losers
Yeah. This is kind of a win-win situation
in this
for them.
situation. And like also unpopular, I think they kind of rocked the Dubois trade.
yeah, they did good.
They got a lot of
They did good.
assets for him, man.
Really good. Really good. I like Velarde a lot. I
That
think,
follows great.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like even Rasmus Kupari. Like, dude, it's I'm very interested to see what they do.
It's win-win. Either direction you go in, you trade Hellebuyck, you get so many pieces back, you're in a great position where you could be competitive next season, or you keep him, you got a great all-world goaltender.
You kind of
You can't lose.
Yeah.
Chevy.
I talked myself into liking what they're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did not like
lose
it
at all.
I did not like it. I was just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I wanted to
And then you
chat.
trade Scheifele and you get something too.
Yeah.
Like,
okay. So hold on.
Everything's looking up, Jets.
You just put something in my head, and I have no prep for this, but I are the Los Angeles Kings under a ton of pressure to win a lot this year? Because it feels like
Why
they
is
might
that?
be. Well, you just spent a lot on Dubois, and you locked him up long term, which is a smart move. You dumped the Cal Peterson contract, which again, smart move.
Yeah.
You've got Gavrikov for 2 more years. You just signed him. It seems like this team probably has a lot more pressure on it than maybe, because we pay attention a lot to like the Oilers because they have McDavid. You know, they got to win. They got McDavid. They got Draisaitl. How can you waste that?
Brr.
But if you look at what the LA Kings have assembled, you would feel the same way. And I'm wondering what their window is.
I mean, it's probably the most ridiculous center depth in the league.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like,
crazy.
Kopitar, Dubois,
Deneau.
You could put Byfield in that conversation
You can.
as well.
Yep.
Even though he's going to probably play wing.
Yeah, you've got Brant Clark, who's like a defenseman I'm really watching. I think
Oh
he's
my
going to
God.
be amazing.
Yeah, no, they're going to be really. Yeah, but scroll down just a little bit. Scroll to. Oh! No!
Cam Talbot and Phoenix Copley are your goalies.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
I mean, Phoenix Copley had a great year. He had a great year.
Yeah, that no one predicted. Like, I don't.
Well, I don't think anybody predicted that Cal Peterson would be unplayable either.
And they got JF Berube, noted Alan Walsh client, JF Berube on a
PTO.
PTO.
Looks like they're waiting for a goalie to be available at the trade deadline again.
Yeah, Hellebuyck.
Oh, they also have Big Save Dave in the
No,
minor
they
league
don't.
system. Yeah, in their minor league system.
They have Big Save and David. No way.
Yeah, because the Kings are coming off 2 straight playoffs where they lose in the first round to the Edmonton Oilers. And they took a step back because in 21, they go 7 games with the Oilers. They're very close to winning. And then in 22, they go 6 games. So I think their fan base kind of looks at it as, we want to take another step here. We've been to the first round 2 times in a row. Before that, we were missing the playoffs, and now we got to crack another barrier. Let's win a round this time. There's a little bit of pressure.
And
you're not putting a single one of those human beings that we just mentioned in front of Connor McDavid in the playoffs.
No.
Who was Vegas' starting goalie when they won the cup?
Aiden
Hill.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if the LA Kings are like, yeah, we're okay with this.
Yeah.
Like, we get
guessing.
Well, I mean, listen, they have the capital. There's a guy, a defenseman that everybody wants, Jordan Spence, too. So
yes.
It'll be between Clark and Spence, and then whoever they think has the highest upside.
They shouldn't trade either.
They shouldn't, but if you get a star goalie.
No.
This is probably...
Right shot, young defenseman will get you anything you want.
No, you have first-round draft picks for a reason.
The Dubois...
Yeah, that's a good point. They do
the
have
Dubois
all of them.
trade, like, surely at some point they discussed, all right, well, let's try to get Hellebuyck too.
Must have. That must have come up.
Surely, and they just weren't able to get it done.
Yeah. You imagine what that deal would have changed, like, the Jets completely. Like, that would have been... Like, Dubois is a thing, but, like, I do feel like the Jets are as good or potentially better with some of those guys.
Wait, do you mean...
But if Hellebuyck
mean the
is... I mean the Jets. The guys the Jets have, I have followed, whatever. I think that they, long-term, will make the team a little bit deeper, better to play, or harder to play against. That.
Oh, yeah,
thing.
they're deeper.
Yeah, and also they want to be there more than Dubois did, which, is a factor.
Sure is.
But Connor Hellebuyck going, man, what would that have looked like?
It would have had to have been a ton of retention, would have had to have been probably 3 teams. I don't know how you make it happen.
Okay.
I don't know how you make it happen without getting rid of a player you would never forgive yourself for giving up. Unless it's the trade deadline and you're pretty sure you're going to win the cup.
Yeah. Yeah. That's my thing too. Okay.
None of those 4 guys are beating McDavid in a 7-game series.
A story that's been...
I don't know. Like, Adam's got a point with, if somebody told you, hey, Aiden Hill is going to lead the Golden Knights to the Stanley Cup, you'd probably say the same thing.
That's true. Yeah,
no.
I wouldn't have picked, and he beat McDavid. And who was that for SWAT?
Their starting goaltender at the time was Logan Thompson. Like, that's who they went into the playoffs.
Yeah. And Brossoit is now back in Winnipeg.
I saw that.
But here's the thing.
Soon to be starting goaltender, Laurent Brossoit.
I like Phoenix Copley. I like what he brings. He's good.
I like him.
Yeah, he was good.
I'm sure he's a nice guy.
What's wrong? What are you talking about? By the way, it's impossible.
He's like Santa Claus.
It's with the new NHL site, it's like almost impossible to look things up easily anymore. It's just remember when they reformed it like 5 years ago and it was like, man, this site's bad.
Ask me why Phoenix Copley would be like Santa Claus.
Why would he be like Santa Claus?
Because he's from North Pole, Alaska.
That's right. Yeah. Listen, man, the guy was 24-6-3.
Holy shit. Really?
Yeah. I put him up. I had him in my my top 5 backup goaltenders. I think he was like 1 or 2 in my top 5.
Ranking of backup.
Yeah, I thought it was fun. I'm like, this is gonna be fun. Let's do something stupid.
How'd that video do?
It was July. I was like, what else are we gonna do?
The backups?
No, I did starters too.
I bet people
but I did
flocked
as
to
starters, and I'm like, let's do fucking backups then. And I like defined them as goalies that played between a certain amount of games. And Phoenix Copley was at the top of that list, man. He was great.
That's how good the Kings were, though. It's like, hey, just don't be the worst goalie in the NHL. And Peterson said, "Oh, nuts," and then Quick said, "Oh, shoot, sorry, my bad.
Send me to Vegas, please."
And then they're like, "Well, I don't know, Phoenix Copley," and he's like, I'll try," and then it worked.
A story that has I forgot about this story. And it has to do with you watching your favorite team, especially if you're in markets like Southern California, Arizona, Florida. A lot of places affected by this. The Bally Sports bankruptcy. Mm-hmm. We got a bit of a update, which is we don't have an update. Gary Bettman said, if I answer the question now, we might have to have this conversation again in an hour. We're preparing for all contingencies, as are our clubs. The league wants the games to be seen. And this is, again, Russo and LeBrun. And if Diamond Sports Media can't negotiate these deals with carriage companies, it would be interesting to see how the league reacts. Remember, they have a bankruptcy hearing, as well as their regional sports parent network negotiation deals with Xfinity and DirecTV, which are cable providers. So, obviously, there's a question of whether they'll be around. And then the second thing is, can they make money while doing it? And so if they're preparing for all contingencies, Gary Bettman and Bill Daly's summer consisted probably mostly of figuring out the Coyotes and whatever piece of land they're going to buy to build the arena on. And putting together some sort of contingency plan, probably team-owned for each of these markets, where the games will be broadcast. And I was wondering, like, if you have those games and you've got the partners in TNT and ESPN, couldn't they just throw them on their apps at least? You could stream them?
You can watch, I think, can't you watch like every NHL game on the ESPN Plus app or whatever?
But it's the art of, isn't there like regional blackouts if Bally has it and you live in Anaheim and you watch the Ducks? Like that, maybe they get rid of the regional blackouts, but.
All right. We'll do it. We'll gladly take the digital highlight rights at SDPN for all those teams.
Absolutely. But it's kind of nuts that, it's September 11th this morning. And we don't have an answer on who's going to be carrying these games. And the season starts in a month.
Seems bad.
Not great, right?
Seems a little bad.
Seems like we should move away from the regional sports model, which has blackouts for some reason.
Yes. First of all, yes. Second, I know that I was putting my face in my hands, and that's because listening to Gary Bettman quotes makes me want to die a little bit. I would love to learn he has like a great personality behind the scenes. Like he does like a rip-in Pete Davidson impression or something like that. Like he has something there beyond word salad and nothing. I would love to learn that. But I don't know if the NHL can be blamed for a bunch of TV stations going completely kaput.
Right.
I mean, what do you do?
I mean, it's not their fault. Baseball's facing the same situation.
Exactly.
NBA
right?
as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but we've been pretty open about this for a long time. Like, blackouts don't work.
Well,
They
yeah,
don't
people just
work.
steal it, man. Just make it legal.
Yeah.
It's a really easy one.
Yeah. We paid all this money for the digital. They'll just steal it.
Yes.
I appreciate what you did. I appreciate your investment. People will just steal it.
So I want to run you through something. So this is one way of doing it, right? Which is the regional sports thing. You could do it the NFL way, though. The NFL has $6 billion media right deals this year.
Wow.
6 of them are over $1 billion. So you've got Monday Night Football on ESPN. That's $2.7 billion. You've got the NFL on CBS, $2.3 billion. NFL on Fox, $2.1 billion. You got Sunday Night Football on NBC at $2 billion. You got NFL Sunday Ticket on YouTube, $2 billion. And then the TNF, which is Prime, Thursday night, $1.2 billion.
Now, I was thinking to myself, I'm like, wait a second. That actually doesn't sound like as much as I thought. And then I remembered they play 17 games each and not 82.
Yeah.
Holy shit,
right?
That's so much money.
Yeah. Yeah, and here's the thing, man. If you have I don't know, in Canada you can sort of watch it all with one particular provider, but there are certainly easier ways to watch the games locally or otherwise. I don't know. Are there blackouts? Are there regional blackouts in the NFL? I never see NFL fans complaining about a regional blackout.
In terms, like in the States,
Yeah,
there are regional blackouts. Like some games won't be available if it's a national game and you have a local broadcast. Like they choose what's going to be on your actual TV.
Okay,
Jesse,
I'm gonna ask you. Your daily nutritional journey starts with what?
AG1.
Yeah, I knew it.
I have it every morning.
Now, why?
Because it's the best. Like I do a lot of fitness tracking, and I find I always get a little spike in my results when I have AG1 consistently. Ooh. Yeah. When you take it over a number of weeks and months and years, eventually, you'll see an improvement.
AG1 replaces your multivitamin, probiotic, and more with one simple drinkable habit. It's science-driven formula. Full of vitamins, probiotics, and whole food source nutrients, raises the standard in quality for supplements, and it builds your health first. And we want you to try AG1. Jesse, if you were to try AG1, if you were to try to get somebody to convince, like one sentence, convince people to try AG1.
It'll make you feel better.
It'll make you feel better.
And you get to do the lovely thing that I do every morning where I shake it. You put it in the bottle and you shake it up.
So
it's the best part of my morning.
If a comprehensive solution is what you need from your supplement routine, then AG1 and a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase. Go to drinkag1.com/STP. That's drinkag1.com/STP. Check it out.
What do you do before you drink it?
You shake it. Shake it.
We do have an Arizona update, but it's not a big one. The league continues to wait for the Coyotes, this is LeBrun and Russo again, to figure out the long-term home in Arizona and supply the ironclad info to the league. Now, most of this stuff, by the way, is not going to be a surprise to you, just so you know, but the last sentence is the one I want you guys to pay particular attention to. Give me a moment. Last month, the team announced, and I told you guys about this press conference last week, or press release last week, Alex Murillo executed a letter of intent to buy in Northwest Mesa to possibly build a sports arena and entertainment district in the attempt to do the same thing that they were going to do in Tempe, but, that was voted down. Here's what Bettman said. They're working away at resolving the uncertainty around where they're going to play long term. He also added that the league must know definitive plans by midseason because it needs to focus on building next year's schedule. This is the part I found the most interesting. Remember, Utah Jazz owner Ryan Smith is waiting in Salt Lake City with open arms if the Coyotes cannot resolve this over the next few months.
Bettman said that?
No, that's Russo and LeBrun. But Bettman said we got to know by mid this year because we got to start planning the schedule. Now, I thought that their deal with Mullet Arena was 3 years. So I'm not sure.
It's 3 more years, I think.
Mm-hmm. I thought it was 3 years to start. So it was last year, this year, and then next year.
I think there's some confusion because when they signed the deal, they weren't sure how long the building in Tempe was going to take. And I think they said 3 years, possibly 4. But now Tempe's not even factored into the plans. I thought it was a 4-year agreement, but maybe I'm wrong.
Interesting.
No.
Very, very interesting.
If the owner of the Utah Jazz buys the Arizona Coyotes, is he moving them?
Well, I think they've got the stadium in Utah. Yeah, like where the Jazz play, Salt Lake City.
Why is this so hard? CJ, I think it was CJ. The first time he said, if Arizona ever lost the Coyotes, the NHL would
put another team in Arizona.
Just try to figure out how to put another team in Arizona.
That's why it makes sense to keep them there.
Exactly. So why can't we just get an owner who wants to keep them there in a fucking building?
I think the owner does.
Why is this so hard?
I think the owner wants to keep them there. I think this owner does want to keep them there. I don't think there's any question about that. I don't know. I don't know that he doesn't have the means. I think he doesn't have the plan set up yet. And he's got to move on that.
That's included in the means. You got to have a plan.
Well, he did. And it was voted down.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Where's plan B? Plan B was make it the fuck up. And that's what they're doing right now.
That's what they're doing.
Listen,
sometimes you got to make shit up on the fly. Like I've done that. I get that.
If Arizona is a viable hockey market, which I think we all agree it is.
Yes, of course.
Or at very least should be. This should be able to get done.
Mm-hmm.
And we're at a quarter century of them fucking it up.
I think there's a difference between a fan base being there for a hockey team and convincing cities to build an arena. There's what the barrier is here, right? It's a great hockey market, but you're convincing city councils and different government regions to build a stadium.
With their money?
No, private money.
Well, this is what I was going to say. So build it yourself.
Yeah, but you need the land.
You need the land.
You need
which
the
they can't
jurisdiction.
Even get the land
they
yet.
can't get it. They can't get anywhere in this area to build a stadium.
This just feels like so many levels of negligence.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? We shouldn't be.
Is that not the first time you've heard Gary Bettman going, they're running out of time?
Yeah.
He's never said anything close to that.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's true, which means Brendan Shanahan's about to fire him. He's finally open to changing something.
Yeah.
And he's about to get fired by Brendan Shanahan.
I think this is significant. And by the way, hockey will work in Arizona. It just has to be you almost wonder at this point.
Get 4 walls and a roof, for God's sake.
Yeah. What's the deal, man?
That holds a major league amount of people. Come on. They don't play sports in Arizona? Come on.
Well, they got a hockey team down the road that's got 10,000 seater.
That's pathetic. Get in a building, for God's sake.
I know.
The interesting thing I always find about the Suns not finding a home, or the Coyotes not finding a home is the Phoenix Suns were always so reluctant to let them share the downtown arena. Like there's a 20,000 seat arena in downtown Phoenix right now. I don't think it's situated for hockey. Like, I think they'd have to make renovations and all that. But the old owner, Robert Sarver, was way against that. But he's out now.
Yeah.
They have a new guy in there who's all about spending money, went and got Durant and all that stuff for the on-court product. Is there not something now to just negotiate, hey, let's bring the Phoenix Coyotes to where the Suns play in downtown Phoenix,
I would
where the
hope
arena just exists already?
It seems to make sense. I don't know why they haven't considered that option. It's weird.
But now enough time has passed that if you're a local business, how do you not view the Coyotes as poison? How do you not view them as this thing that is going to come and strafe your crops?
I think you need to I think it's possible to switch that. If that is there is a little bit of, unfortunately, outside of Coyotes fans in Arizona, there's an irrelevance factor with the Coyotes, right? There's we don't even, I tell you that story. I'm like, hey, I went to, Arizona and asked the person who I thought would know directions to things, where do the Coyotes play? And they were like, I don't even know who they are. And that was in Phoenix. It's a PR thing. You can flip a PR, you can flip a brand around in a year or two. You just have to have an owner with some money and something exciting happening and a really good PR team to trumpet it out. They can do that.
Oh, they got the best prospect in hockey. So
they do. You know what? He is great.
He's legitimately going to be a star.
Yeah.
But Connor Bedard.
Yeah. Exactly. Jesse, you look like you're looking at something here.
I was just trying to find some info on why they can't share the Footprint Center, I believe it's called now, where the Phoenix Suns play. Back in 2022, Gary Bettman spoke on it and said that the Suns have no interest in sharing the arena with the Coyotes. It would require construction, which would have to be done by the Suns. So there would have to be some sort of agreement by the Coyotes probably to pay for it, which would be millions of dollars. And they're like, why can't we get our own arena for all this? So there's a lot of back and forth. But with this Phoenix Suns new owner, I think there's another door that can be opened here. It makes a lot of sense. I don't know, just from an outsider's perspective, I'm sure people within the Phoenix area know a lot more on this, but there's a lot of hurdles to get them in there, but it makes a lot of sense to share the downtown Phoenix arena.
This is going to sound stupid, but I'm going to ask a question. Has anybody called them?
I'm sure Gary has.
I feel like I remember a story from May, the spring.
Because sometimes people are like, when we found out that not all GMs call each other, a lot of the times it's the agents brokering the trade.
Right, yes.
Would it surprise you if nobody had simply called the Suns owner?
Well, I mean, if you were the Suns owner, wouldn't you charge an arm and a leg?
Sure.
Because the Coyotes have absolutely no leverage whatsoever.
How much is building a stadium going to cost?
I assume $1 billion.
Right. So it'd be less than that.
Your memory is very good, Steve. You're remembering a episode of 32 Thoughts from May 17th. Elliot Friedman provided an update on the issue when all of this was going on. They got rejected from Tempe. They had called Phoenix Suns owner Matt Ishbia, and they had talked to the Utah Jazz owner Ryan Smith about using Vivint Arena in Utah. And that one's even worse than the Phoenix situation, because if you remember the pictures that came out at the time, one half of it's a Barclays, or it's the old Brooklyn situation, where half the thing is covered. So that's not ready. But they did call Matt Ishbia, and Gary Bettman had a conversation about if it's going to be ready. This was the quote from 30 Thoughts. I wouldn't be surprised if Gary Bettman and the NHL, if they haven't already, met with him to gauge his interest in supporting the idea of turning the Suns' current rink into a facility that can also support the Coyotes. So I assume Bettman's been on the phone at some point to talk to Ishbia over the summer as well, try and gauge that. What a
headache.
But yeah.
It's a headache.
Yeah.
If I was Bettman, I would hire someone just to do that.
Delegate this, yeah.
Delegate the entire thing. What percent of the work he does on a week-to-week basis is just the fucking Coyotes? I would literally just have a person dedicated to managing that headache What a pain in the ass.
It is. It's been just a thorn in their side for years.
I'll never forgive them for making me feel sympathy for Gary Bettman. I'll never forgive them.
Out of all these solutions, going to Scottsdale and being the party team makes a lot of sense.
Oh my God, it'd be great.
And 2, building an arena in Scottsdale is 1, and 2, moving in with the Suns. Like, to me, those are blanket. You got 2 great options. Do one.
No.
Just
No.
fucking move to Houston.
I think they're going to stay, and I think it's going to have to be the Suns, man. It has to be. Why are we building an... Also, what are you building another arena for?
Just Scottsdale could be cool, but...
Scottsdale would be cool.
Yeah.
All right. We'll see what happens.
I'm trying to look up Mesa.
Also, a highlight, there is an article in The Athletic about former Leaf Peter Holland and why he signed the PTO, and I think you should check it out at some point.
Ooh, yes.
Really good, really great story and nice to see. And he hasn't played professional hockey for years. He retired in 2022 officially. COVID obviously made things really difficult. He's playing over in Sweden and couldn't see his family and had a kid and all that stuff. But it's a really great story. And if you're looking for somebody to root for this year, Peter Holland's your guy with the Avalanche on that PTO. It's pretty cool.
So he's not retired anymore.
He's not. He is unretired.
Unretired.
The old
He's Holland ass.
Old Pete
for the Avalanche.
Oh, Holland ass is pretty good.
Get it? Yeah. I'm warming up.
You could say he's got the sauce.
He
the
played
hollandaise sauce.
Oh, stop it.
It's pretty good.
Automobilisk.
That was his last team? Mm-hmm. Oh, Yekaterinburg, Automobilist. Joffrey Lupul played 9 games there and then decided, I don't want to play here anymore.
He had a good career in the KHL. Those are really good numbers for the game.
And he played for Djurgården, who is partial owner of Djurgården.
Matt Sundin.
Matt Sundin, that is correct.
He played there.
That is absolutely correct.
And I know that because I had a Matt Sundin book in grade 5 or 6.
Nice.
And I learned that, he was playing, that was his hometown team, right? And he used to also like to play bandy, which is like a Swedish sand hockey game. And then
it's on the ice as well.
When he is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
When he moved
huge.
when he moved to Canada, we moved to Quebec. The thing that he missed the most was Swedish meatballs. That's the only thing I can remember from that book.
I believe that.
So
no good food to have in Quebec.
That's right. No, yeah, it's unfortunate you didn't go to the culinary capital of Canada, Mats. Too bad.
Very unfortunate.
Jesse, let's do the press conference.
There it is.
Yeah.
SDP. The Steve Dangle Press Conference.
This is from our Discord server and the press conference questions channel. Go to sdpn.ca to join us on Discord. Heller4444 writes, with the first initials of the first name being AM and T. That's
with
Austin, Mitch, and Tyler.
Okay.
Austin, Mitch, Tyler.
Should the first line be known as the money line?
I like that. I like that. The betting tie-in. I like that.
I'm so stupid. I'm like, what's amped?
Wow.
ATM. I'm a dumbass.
I like it.
I'm not a smart guy.
No, I liked it.
I like it.
Heller, why don't you just write it out? Austin, Tyler, and Mitch. Then it would have been easier. This is from Scott THHH. Are you coming to Sweden for the Leafs Stockholm games? Steve has said this a number of times.
I plan on it. I absolutely plan on it. I was looking into flights. There don't appear to be any direct ones, so that's cool. Listen, here's the holdup. I don't want to book the trip until I know I have credentials for it, and we've never gotten credentials from the NHL, and frankly, we should. Well, at very least for these 2 games in Sweden, especially if I'm willing to pay as a media organization to go to Sweden. We got 70,000 views on a Simone Benoit video. Give us credentials.
Yeah.
But the portal is not open yet.
Right.
That's why I
you
haven't
can't apply
applied,
for it.
because I can't apply yet.
Yeah.
I expect to be there.
Okay.
You can go as a non-media person.
Yes, but have you considered fuck that?
This question comes from Caden FTW. Kid in for the win. What are Steve's thoughts on the new CM Punk drama?
What happened there?
Yeah,
I saw something about
sick
that.
of someone's shit. I'm sick of his shit.
Because he was like the biggest star for a while.
Yes, he was the biggest star for a while in WWE.
Yes.
And then he went away for a long time, and he told his side of the story on a podcast, and he got sued, and his friend got sued, and he didn't help his friend out after getting sued. And then he makes his triumphant comeback in AEW after years and years, and he's very popular, and everyone loves him. And then you find out there's some friction behind the scenes with other wrestlers and guys who have a lot of influence, and there's a fight at a pay-per-view called All Out, and they called it Brawl Out.
I like that.
Yeah, because they got into a fight, and then he went away in part because he was suspended, and in part because he had an injury to be taken care of. He goes away for like nearly a year, and like AEW is going to terminate his contract, and he's just going to quit, and he's just going to go to WWE, and no one knows what's going to happen. And actually, he's going to come back, and then he finally comes back, and he lasted like a month or maximum 2 months before getting into another physical altercation behind the scenes at a pay-per-view.
Oh, God.
So AEW finally terminated his contract, and like I'm sure we're going to learn more. Supposedly there is footage of this incident, which there wasn't for the first one. It hasn't been leaked. I would love to see it. And the guy who he got into a fight with backstage, Jungle Boy Jack Perry. Do you know who?
I don't think I know him.
No.
Luke Perry's son.
No way.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Luke
Jungle
Perry
Boy
from
Jack
like
Perry.
90210?
Yes.
And Riverdale?
Oh, like the actor.
Yeah.
Oh, fun.
Yes.
Damn. Wow.
His son's a wrestler. Nice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So like I'm just at some point the common denominator of all the drama is one person.
That's what it comes down to. And CM Punk has been doing this throughout his career, and eventually we got to be all like, am I the problem? Like CM Punk is the problem. He like you said, he came back in June, and that was from being away for 9 months, and then you're already back and you're suspended. You're getting into another brawl.
Yeah.
Like it's you, dude.
Yeah.
Figure it out.
And like maybe this is going to be unpopular to our wrestling portion of the fan base. He's not good enough to be this much of a pain in the ass.
He was at one point.
Yeah, but he's not anymore.
Is it a little bit like James Harden with the Sixers? Like he's not the leading scorer in the league. Why are you being such a pain in the ass? You can't make these demands?
It's like he's legendary on the mic. He's incredible at like shoot style promos and everything. But AEW is mostly driven by in-ring work. Mm-hmm. And his in-ring work does not live up to what the other guys in AEW do. He's not the Young Bucks. He's not Kenny Omega. He's not John Moxley. He's not MJF, who can do both. He's not Bryan Danielson. He's not Hangman Adam Page. He's like, there's so many true quality wrestlers in that organization. So, like, the better match for him might actually be WWE. And
he's 44 now. Like,
that's not that old for wrestling.
no, but like he's peaked. CM Punk was the
He'll never be bigger.
He was the world heavyweight champion of the WWE in 2011.
Yeah.
Like that's when he peaked as a superstar, and then he retired for 5 years, and then now he comes back and he thinks he's still that.
Well, and he drew like that. Like he's still a draw. Mm-hmm. He's still a draw, especially in Chicago. And that was the other thing. They made the decision to fire him right before a bunch of shows in Chicago.
Ooh.
Where he's from.
Yeah. It was
so that sounds like a little on purpose.
But like Chicago, well,
Don't get into
it
a
was
fight
really
backstage.
unfortunate. It was really unfortunate. And like he's thunderously popular there. He gets booed in most other arenas. We booed him in Toronto. He got booed in Toronto at Forbidden Door,
Well, there you go.
where he had a match that was not close to one of the better ones on the card. Again, like it's in-ring work in AEW, and he's not there.
I could 100% see WWE taking him back just for the pop. Like it'd be
100%.
incredible,
It'd be
like they don't care.
It'd be seismic.
Yeah.
It'd be and get rid of them at the first sign of trouble.
They don't care. Yeah, no, 100% it could happen within, I don't know, next couple months.
The interesting thing there is like him and Triple H like butt heads a lot, and I don't think they like each other, and there's a lot of bad blood there.
But it sounds like Hunter's not really running show over there.
No, he's not.
It's Vince certainly should be in prison, McMahon.
Yeah.
And it's a bad situation.
Did we all forget that the WWE and the UFC are merging?
Dude.
Okay.
What? We're in a really interesting age of wrestling. Like, this is the best wrestling has been in many, many years. Across the board. WWE, after many years of being just a straight up shit product, is fantastic right now. AEW is fantastic right now. There hasn't been a competitor as big as AEW since WCW in the 90s. But yeah, Vince McMahon, blech. Like, just
yeah,
yuck.
like human garbage on the highest of levels.
Like, I have every time I want to go to a WWE event, I'm like, fuck, I don't want to give Vince money.
Yeah, it's unnecessary.
And UFC's been impossible to follow. And like, especially after this weekend.
Oh,
Where, I don't know if you saw all that bullshit.
What happened?
yeah.
Just a string of misogynistic things and homophobic things.
Yeah.
The F slur was used in the ring on mic twice.
Two different guys.
Two different guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, it makes it, I can't enjoy the sport because of all the bullshit around it.
And then you have the
horrible.
guy at the top who comes back, Dana White, being like, you know what? They're fighting each other, or they're all just riled up. I was like, no, you don't have to make excuses for these guys. It's fucking pathetic.
He has a slap league.
Oh,
He
yeah.
should be there shouldn't be a slap league. It's actually the dumbest fucking thing I've ever seen. But out of all the people to have a slap league, he should have it the least. Like, it's fucking brutal.
Yeah, there's no supporting the UFC, and then WWE is run by a monster, and you're like, oh, these two things are awful.
This all fucking stinks. I just want to watch wrestling, man. This all fucking stinks.
What other questions do we have, Jess?
That's it.
Is that it?
Yeah.
All right, fine.
Man,
Fine
we're
then.
gonna end on that note.
Come on,
I don't
Jesse,
know
one
what we
more.
do. I don't know.
Give
what
me
we
a
do
better
about
question.
about these two entities, and now they're together. They're
Just cool. Isn't that great?
I'll read this.
No,
This
we
is
need an
from
emergency question.
Yeah, we do.
Crazy Canuck.
Okay.
Crazy Canuck wrote, the Rugby World Cup has started.
Change my mind. End the show.
It started on Friday, and was wondering whether any of you have watched a match. I thought you guys would find it interesting how the referee is treated much differently in rugby, with usually only the captain being able to talk to him.
That's how it's supposed to work in hockey. That's what the letters are for.
The TMO on-field review is done on the big screen for everyone in the stadium to see, and the referee makes the decision in consultation with his assistants. The explanation of what happened and the conversation he has with the team captain is then broadcasted on the TV for full clarity. Old Manta followed up and said, South Africa and Scotland are tomorrow. Would be a great match for Steve to watch since he has Scottish heritage.
I do not. My son does.
Your son does. Your wife.
Yes.
Your wife does, yes. Anyways, Rugby World Cup happening. Any interest?
Yes.
Yeah.
Lots of interest. It's hard to find. It's hard to find in Canada.
Where do you watch it?
Like, you got to make an effort, right?
Right.
Like, you ever been in a bar and it's just on? It's happened to me once or twice my entire life. You know what I mean? And it's on, like, very often, like if it's on in Australia or something, you can watch it live at the bar at like something like 11 or 12 at night sometimes, or maybe they'll do a replay. No, I have not been watching, but I would love to.
Do you want the result from the Scotland-South Africa game?
Oh, it's over? Oh.
It happened yesterday. It was,
that's not good at all, is it?
18-3 for South Africa.
Oh.
Yeah, you guys struggled.
I read an insane story this morning about rugby because of the whole
Rugby
thing
World
happening.
Cup,
Yeah. Do you want me to read it to you?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay.
So I guess before the 2003 Rugby World Cup, South Africa, which is always sort of a force in it, sent their players to a 3-day training camp. which was described as hell.
Sounds great.
So here's how we start, okay? At gunpoint.
What?
Why?
I know.
Why at gunpoint?
I know. Why at gunpoint?
Why is it's not that serious?
They stripped the squad naked, starved them, and then forced them to fight each other.
Sounds like human rights abuse.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they were on arrival. They were blindfolded, ordered to crawl down a gravel path. A voice growled into the megaphone, "Welcome to Camp Barbed Wire." When the players were slow to get on their hands and knees,
I regret agreeing to hear this.
Yes, me as also.
the guards fired their guns in the air. This was supposed to make them tough for New Zealand because they were playing New Zealand. So they're like, we're going to toughen you guys up for New Zealand. They were then stripped naked, ordered to fight each other in their positional rivals in a bare knuckle fight. Then they left them freezing in the bush naked at night. And then they gave them 2 chickens and a box of matches and said, "There's your dinner." But the chickens were alive.
The fuck?
I know. This is the most bizarre thing.
What did the UN think of this?
Well, I wondered about that. I'm like, how is this allowed? And this is their national team.
I don't want to ask this question, but here goes. Did they win?
They were after the 3-day camp. They were described as utterly broken and comfortably dispatched by New Zealand in the quarterfinals.
Okay.
Oh, they lost?
They lost. After
The
all
worst ending to that story would be, and then they won.
No, they all the players say it killed them.
Yeah,
It was
no,
enough.
I'm glad the lesson is that's fucking insane.
Isn't that crazy?
Don't do that to human beings.
What could be the possible good outcome of that? But anyway, that's how intense rugby.
Where did you read that?
That is a multiple newspaper report, but it was pulled together by something called the Upshot.
What?
The Upshot is like they tell crazy stories, behind the scenes stuff in like European football and a lot of stuff on. It's a great no. It's actually.
I just
really
want to
great.
check and see if it came from like Truth Social.
No, it didn't come from Truth Social. No, isn't that nuts? It's crazy.
Tweeted by Tony D.
No, it's not. But it's a true story. Yeah.
Yes, Maddie's right. Yes,
You
Maddie's
want to wrap
right.
it up, Maddie?
Yeah.
Here, we want to hear another one?
Italy beat Nambia 52-8.
Damn.
Oh,
Still couldn't have been worse than watching the Steelers play yesterday, which was horrible.
Yeah, that's horrible. 52. That's such a long day. There should be a mercy rule. Nope. Get your ass kicked.
How long a rugby game?
That one? Too long.
Too long.
The Steve Dangle Podcast. Follow the guys on Twitter at Steve_Dangle, at Adam WYLDE, and at Jesse Blake. Connection complete.